Hey, what's up? This is Terrell Davis, and you're listening to the Live Life on Offense podcast.
Blue 42! Hut! Hut! Hike!
Welcome to the Live Life on Offense podcast with Hall of Fame running back and two-time Super Bowl champion Terrell Davis and myself, Kevin Shoemaker, real estate entrepreneur and CEO of the Terrell Davis Group. We dive deep into what it takes to develop the championship mentality for your business and your life. We provide you the playbook for entrepreneurs that moves the chains down the field so you can live a life that is more than just existing, but a true life on offense. Let's kick it off. Hey, TD, how are you doing, buddy?
Doing fantastic. Kevin, how you doing?
Man, I am good. I saw your post with the boys and holding up the trophies. Looked like it was a good season.
Yeah, they play the that's the NFL flag league that you saw, and they're both pretty good. They're the youngest on their teams, and so they can make some splash plays every once in a while. Pretty good, but obviously they have older kids, so it's tough for them to really kind of in my words kind of dominate the game. But they're really good and they have fun doing it. I enjoy doing it. It's on Sundays, and so they won the champion. Both of them won their respective championships, which is pretty good.
That's awesome. Does it bring back some memories for you?
It does. And I coached. So my oldest, I was only able to see him. Really, this is the first weekend because they play on Sundays, and I'm normally in studio doing the NFL Network stuff. And so I went out there. I actually coached them on Wednesday. Their coach was out of town, so I went up there and I coached them. And I like to think that because they had won one game all year, and I like to think my coaching really helped because after Wednesday's coaching, they played and they won 3 games to win the championship. They played awesome. 3 games on Sunday. And so I was out there actually coaching on Sunday, their first game. Then I had to go into studio, and man, they looked like a totally different team as far as because they weren't grabbing flags before, but this time they were really good with flag. With the flags, they had real good like discipline. With spacing and they got beat a couple of times over the top, but man, they went out there and did a really good job of winning that. So I'm proud of them. They just proud of what they're.
I got to ask the questions. It's killing me. Did you break out the old playbook?
And in flag, would not know because it's different. It's flag football, so it's 7-on-7. You can't run between the hash marks. It's a different kind of play, and then they're young, so the passing game is not as advanced. So you're really limited in what you can do. So normally the passes there's like little check down passes, or they'll do a fake triple reverse, and then the running back would throw to somebody who's wide open. They didn't complete a lot of passes, so I try to give them something just to every once just something here and there, but I didn't work with them the entire year. Hopefully next year, man. And I said the word man again. Hopefully next year, I'm able to spend more time with them. And then I really want to be a coach. I really want to coach them up as they get older, and that's going to be really fun.
Oh man, I'd love to see that. You look at the when I look at the picture. I mean, your boys are both smiling ear to ear, and they're super excited, and I'm sure as you're very proud of them. But
Absolutely.
You look at the pressure of today, and I guess where I'm going with this is sort of like, I look at kids today at a young age, whether it's sports, whether it's preparing for academically for college, which is what's going through on our household with Sean as a sophomore. You look at all of these things, there's all this pressure for these kids to succeed, which they want to succeed and we want them to succeed. But obviously, we want them to do something that they're passionate with in their life as well. And, so as a parent, as you're seeing with your boys and, as you went through, the same stage with them and going through college and finding your passion. I mean, what do you got to say about that? What can you help?
This is a great topic. Finding your passion for young men, young women today, because of all the distractions that they have, the video games, the social media, just that all the things that disrupts a kid's attention. The sports stuff that they're playing. They're involved in so many different leagues and in club soccer and they travel this and they're that and they're the recreational stuff, Disneyland, all over the place. I couldn't imagine growing up having all this stuff at my exposure. I can't imagine that. I grew up in a very simple time. We grew up in a very simple time, Kevin. It was you had school, and then you come home and you played. I played football, or I only played baseball 1 year, and I sucked, so I stopped playing baseball. So that wasn't hard. But football, I really had soccer, and I was really good at soccer, and I love soccer. But football, I played football, and I remember the passion for football that I had. I kind of developed it at a really early age. I'm the youngest of 5 boys. We all played backyard football with our older brothers and get beat up and all that stuff. And I was the punching bag for a lot of those little backyard games. And I used to, I instantly I wanted to compete and be better than them. I wanted to do everything better than them. And in my house, football was just a sport. We watched the Monday Night Football. We watched the local Chargers. I was a San Diego Chargers fan. And football, I just gravitated toward it. And my first year playing, I was playing offensive guard, so I didn't even play running back. But I always wanted to be a running back, and I had the toughness and stuff. And then when I played tackle, which I played at 7 years old, my brothers had already conditioned me for football, so I was more physical than the kids that I was playing with, and I looked at it as a chance to take all that anger, all that beating I took from them. I was like, I'm gonna make them pay for this. I'm taking all this punishment, and they're gonna pay for it. And man, I just fell in love with the contact. I fell in love with that part of the game where you can hit somebody as hard as you want to hit them. You can bloody their nose, you can break an arm, you can do whatever you want to do, and you didn't get in trouble for it. As a matter of fact, you got praised for it, and that was interesting to me. I love that aspect of the game, and by doing that, my coaches noticed at the end of my first year, I was an offensive guard, and they said, "Hey, you know what? Let's try him at running back." Because I kept bugging them because I really wanted to play running back, and they finally said, "All right, we'll give you a chance." And so the last game of the year, they gave me a chance to run with the ball, and I don't know what the stats look like then, but if I had to guess, I know I was over 200 yards. I had about 3 or 4 touchdowns, and I was just running over kids. And that's when I have a nickname that I've had since that time, and it's called Boss Hog. And that's when my coach, and he's my mentor as well, he called me Boss Hog. He's like, "Man, you run like a hog." And
that's
so
great.
I had a nickname since then, and I just fell in love with it, and football just became that thing. And kids know, I think sometimes parents try to force kids into sports because they either thought they should have played it professionally, and they're like, "You know what? I'm making you play baseball because you know what? I wanted to play baseball, and I'm gonna live vicariously through you because I was really good, and something happened, and
Right.
and now, yeah." And I just think you expose kids to whatever you're gonna expose them to, right? You put them in everything that they can play. You put them in everything and let them choose where their passion lies, and you don't try to carve it out for them. And that's what I try to do with my sons. And I know you do that with your kids. Like you give them, you let them taste it, and say, "Hey, taste this, taste that," and then, hey, if you want to do that, hey, I will support it. And that's where I am with my kids at this point.
Well, and they all develop at different I know when we look at our kids, our oldest, he's been bound and determined to be an engineer for years, but yet our youngest, Allie's just starting to, we're seeing her, things like that are piquing her interest, but yet she's, "What do you want to be when you're older?" "I don't know." So I agree with you. Just allowing them to try, a lot of different things, again with sports, but also academically, trying different things in school and so forth. But what do you think? And obviously things have changed a little bit from back when we were in school, and things are taken so much seriously. But at what point do you think, like have some friends that, like you said, that live vicariously through their kids, and they're at every game, and they have every coach possible to teach them this and teach them that, to take the game to the next level. You always hear about kids hitting a level of potentially hitting a level of being burned out. And at what point is it too much? What's your experience with that?
And I'm seeing that. I see that with some of the, um, I guess parents that are around. So, and I try to be a mindful of my kids, because you look at it, you say, all right, my kids play basketball, they play football, soccer, and they run track. And there's a lot of overlap in the year, so they don't really get time off. They don't have a true summer. They don't get a chance to just relax. To me, that's one of the most important aspects of any sport. Is when I was playing, man, my rest time was important. My recovery time was important. My time to just mentally just detox and not have to think about sports was extremely important. Um, it's to me, there's no roadmap or a book that would tell you when your kids are burned out and how much you're giving them. You just have to monitor it. You have to know that my kid seems to be burned out. If he's running track and he's running track for 7 months, and then you get him out of track and you want to put him in an off-season track program, and you want to put him back in track, or you want to go basketball and then club basketball and then back here and boom. I have some parents right now. They have their kids playing. They play flag football they play tackle football on Saturday, flag football on Sunday, and the same kid is playing baseball that same day.
Wow.
That's a lot. So not to mention the practices that you have to take them to, all these sporting events, and at a young age, I mean, they can handle it. They're pretty resilient. But at some point, that's got to burn you out. That's got to burn a kid out, and I'm trying to be aware of that with my kids. I remember just recently, like 2 days ago, my wife told me that she had hired a track coach for my 7-year-old, and I said, "What?" It's like, "Yeah, he's gonna meet with his speed coach this week." And I said, "His track doesn't start till I think track is like January." And I know I want to give him a bit of a head start, but I just want to make sure I don't, because it's a long season. We started in December last year. We didn't finish track until July, the end of July. If he starts running track right now, and we're talking about in October, I'm afraid that by the time he gets through the season, he is going to be done. And we'd love to go to the Junior Olympics like we did last year. So we have to monitor that to make sure we're doing the right thing. So that also means talking to, we'll talk to the track coach. I'm not a track guy, and I'm open-minded. I'm not a guy who thinks I know everything, and I try to go in there and assume I don't know everything so that I can learn everything. And even though I have some experience with football and stuff, I always feel like I'm always learning, and I want to hear about the way the kids are being taught now, how they're training and what they're doing. But yeah, so I just told her, just back it up a little bit. If you want to do it, let's push it back to another month or two, and then let's monitor that, and then see if that doesn't burn him out. But yeah, you certainly have to be aware that we can push kids a lot further than we were pushed, because we think we know what's best for them, and they don't know. They can't say, "Hey, mom and dad," like they can't tell you in 7 months I'm gonna be burned out. They just go with the flow, and all of a sudden you see them just like they're dead.
Looking back when you were playing ball through the years, and at what point did you sort of look up and go, this is real? Like, I actually have a shot at going to the big league. Like, what was there a defining moment that just made it became real for you?
That moment, it came really late though, Kevin. It was I was out of college. It was after college, and it was, as a matter of fact, that moment was in the pros, to be honest with you.
Wow.
Even after I got drafted, I always thought that there was still a big chance that I wasn't going to make it. I was drafted in the 6th round. They had a ton of running backs in Denver at the time, and you don't know. The only I can't control whether they're gonna let me run with the ball and give me some chances to prove myself. I just was trying to prepare myself for when they gave me that chance, be prepared for it. But yeah, man, the moment didn't really sink in until I actually was getting more playing time. It was after the hit I did in Tokyo when I ran down on kickoff and made the tackle. And then they put me on special teams and they started putting me on punt return, kickoff return, punt coverage, kickoff coverage. And I was getting more and more offensive plays. Is when I realized, okay, I've got a chance to make this team. And still didn't quite feel like I was ready to celebrate until Mike Shanahan called me into his office the week before our first game, sat me down in his office, and when he summoned me up, I wasn't
like,
quite.
This is going to go one way or the other.
Yeah,
way or the other way.
exactly. I was expecting him to say, "Hey, you know what, TD, you look good in the preseason, but we're gonna put you in a practice squad to develop you a little bit more." And I was ready for something like that. And he said, "Hey," he said, "how would you like to be our starting running back?" And of course, I couldn't help but smile, man. I couldn't even say, "Yeah." I was like, "Man, of course, of course." So that was when I came down. That was confirmation. That was the first time that I knew that I had made it. But it took that long. It took that long. And I try to just share my experience with younger men and women about the goal. Like if you want to be a professional football player, basketball player, whatever it is, there's a process that has to happen. You keep your mind on the goal, but your focus has to be on the process. And the process is doing the things that it takes to get there. And that is working hard. That is, being able to make sacrifices, to learn, to grow, to be a sponge, to be coachable, to fail. Failure it has to be part of your road. It has to be part of the stepping stones to get you to where you have to go, and all that stuff becomes who you are as a person. It helps you. It helps you to form, the ability to be resilient, to form the ability to be able to withstand challenges and setbacks and all that stuff. And it's all part of the pot. But yeah, I just tell anybody here's the deal. What the passion is going to do for you, though, if you have a passion for something, when you struggle with it, the passion is going to be what gets you through it. Because if you don't have a passion for it, it's easy to quit. It is easy. If you don't like something, it is so easy to say, I don't like this anyway, I'm done. But if you like doing it, you're going to accept all that, Kevin. Everything that comes with it, you're going to sit there and go through it because I love it. And you can't just love it because it's good. You have to love it when it's bad and when it's nasty and dirty and cold. And, I've been in games where I'm like, I don't know if I want to be out here.
Right. Right.
It's 20 below zero. I don't know if I want to be out here, but because I love the game, you stick it out and you just push through it.
Well, we all have watched, some of the motivational videos. One that sticks in my mind is they're on the football, their high school football team, and this young kid had to carry another kid on his back, hands and knees, and carry this other, heavier kid across the field on his back, and people were encouraging him and cheering him on, and the coach was coaching him on. And where I'm going with that is looking back in your, the daily grind on the field, and the hot summer days with pads, and in the coaching moments, was there any defining moments or statements, with some of your coaches that really that they helped you sort of maybe find that passion or continue to help you pursue the passion and keep you motivated?
It's coaches, they are always pushing you beyond your limits. That's it's sort of innate in a coach. All my coaches have always pushed me and tried to it's not only me, but they push all players, and that's kind of what their role is. I think it's up to but it's also it seems like when you find that moment, it's one where you realize that somebody's pushing me, but now I got to push myself. And that was a moment where I kind of made that mental shift. And I talk about it all the time. And I go back to that story when I was at Georgia. And if in the, when I was a senior in Georgia, sitting up there in the stands, with only 4 games left in my entire career, injured, by the way, missed the first 5 games or the last 5 games. And I'm sitting there watching my Bulldogs play. In the stands and in the bleachers, way up in the stands. And for any Georgia fan, that would have been a great day up there watching your team play. But for me, because I was a player and I was on the team, it wasn't. I had to, I looked around. I was like, wait a minute, like this didn't feel right. I'm a player on the field, and that's my team. I'm supposed to be out there playing, and I'm not. And then it just kind of gave me a glimpse of the future. Like this is going to be you a year from now. No more football in your life. You're just watching the team play, and it dawned on me. I was like, wow. I only have at the maximum 4 more games to play in my entire career. I've got to do something different when I go back. And I wasn't taking advantage of it, before, and so it really kind of became a moment where it kind of scared me, and it kind of pushed me where I had to push myself. I said, I can't depend on anybody else to make this happen. I got to make this happen. I got to play the best 4 games if I come back, because my hamstring, I wasn't sure if it was healed at that time. But fortunately, that was a week I came back. When I came back to practice, they cleared me to play. And so when I came back, I was a fullback, because Hines Ward was at the running back position. And so I just wanted to get on the field. They put me at fullback, and I played my butt off. I ran through brick walls. I did whatever it took to be the best player I could be, because I was trying to push myself beyond what I had done before. And that's when you know. That's when you have a moment when you can have a self-reflective moment, and you're able to turn around yourself and not wait for somebody to have to push you beyond that. Because if somebody pushing you, that means, again, you're not feeling it. If somebody has to motivate you, inspire you, they're pulling you. They're pulling you with the rope. You want somebody that just says something, if they're gonna do it, or you want something that you see to inspire you. You don't want somebody to have to motivate you to do what you have to do. And that moment was it. And after that, Kevin, I go back. That was my rebirth moment. That was October 15th, 1994. And I will never forget that day. October 15th, 1994. Wow. It was a day that my entire career changed because of a choice I made. And that was to not settle for anything less and to be better than I was before. And I committed to that.
Well, when we look at living life on offense and obviously being passionate about what you do is a big piece of that, because it's a way of life. And you talk about whatever you do in life and being passionate, whether it's serving your community, whether it's your career, whatever it is, whether it's sports, so fast forwarding, you've been around a lot of people, a lot of athletes that you've seen hit different levels of success. You've been around a lot of you've seen a lot of parents and have raised their kids, and you've been able to sort of watch from the sidelines and see different kids go through college into the pros. Looking at your fast forwarding with your boys and say they're getting ready to graduate high school, or it's their senior year, let's say, in high school, and they're preparing, whether it's for sports, but also to be, to succeed academically and pursue college and all the opportunities that life has ahead of them. Obviously, you don't want to just focus on one thing, because you want to make sure you, again, pursue what you're passionate about. But what advice would you give your oldest, as far as finding, getting clarity on that passion as he gets ready to embark off to college?
Yeah. So
not to pack so much into one question, but
yeah, no. Yeah. That's the thing about passion. Is I can't determine your passion for you. And I don't want my kids to feel like they're doing something just because they're trying to make their mom or their dad proud. And I'd always say, follow your passion. If you're not passionate about it, don't do it for anybody else but yourself, because it's going to show. that's the advice you give them. If they got a chance to go play professional football, I respect players who retire because there was no passion behind it. They were good at it. They got paid to do it. It paid for school. They got a scholarship. It provided them access. It provided them, celebrity or whatever they wanted to use it for. They had that. At the end of the day, if you don't have a passion for it, it's going to show. It's going to show in your preparation. It's going to show in your work, and you're not going to be happy. You're just not going to be happy, and that's even in business. So in business, there's people that are in business because it makes money, because they can make money doing this job. And there's so many people. The report, I guess the stat came out, and it's probably been out. I just reading it. It said over 75% of people who are currently working are unhappy with their jobs. Whoa. Now that 75%. So there's a lot of people who are doing things that are not passionate about it. And I say, if you're not passionate about it, this is what Live Life on Offense is about. And we talked about, Kev, is you've got to make a decision that are you going to go through life not being happy and not having a passion for the things you do, or you're going to step out on faith and take a chance. It's going to be risky, but you got to take a chance. You got to, happiness is important. That's part of living life on offense is having that, is to be happy. And I don't care if my kid plays professional football. If he wants to go, my kids right now, their goals, and I always ask them every morning we go to school because I want to see when they change.
Right.
What do you want to do for a living? My oldest son, he wants to be a train conductor and he wants to drive trucks. I said, fine. Right. He's already got his goals already. My middle son, he wants to be a pilot and he wants to be a farmer. Okay. No, my oldest kid wants to be a farmer. My middle son wants to be a train conductor and a pilot. My oldest son wants to be a truck driver and a farmer. That's he loves cows. My daughter, she's not quite there yet. She's 3 years old.
Okay, she's old time.
Yeah. So right now, that's what they're passionate about. So if they grow up to be those, man, I'm happy. I'm happy because they're happy. And they're living their dream. Their dream right now, and their goals and what they see is to be those. And so if I'm trying to steer them away and say, hey, you need to come over here and be a doctor or an attorney or whatever it is, they have no desire at this point. Maybe later in long life it changes, but follow the passion. The passion is going to steer you to where you need to go, and that's what I'm going to tell them.
Well, and you look at, making sure, we always tell our kids, making sure that their actions are in alignment with their goals. And, that's just living life on offense. And I know TD that, every time I'm with you, you deliver, 100% of passion in everything you do. And I appreciate that about you. And you're always, passionate with everything you do. So really appreciate that, and really appreciate you just breaking everything down for us today.
Likewise, my man. Enjoy it. If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you subscribe and review everywhere you listen to podcasts. You think this will make a difference in someone else's life? Make sure you share it with them. Check out all the other episodes and other valuable resources at livelifeonoffense.com.